y'all, welcome and welcome back. I have not sat down and filmed a video in so long. I took a little break for the holidays and I have missed you guys so much. So let's get right into it. Happy New Year. My goals for this year are to post a video every single day. So if there's any specific content you want, please let me know. Now, to kick off the new year, I know they say don't look in the past, but we are going to for the next two videos because we're going to talk about the horror movies that 2024 gave us. The good, the great, and the literally awful. But I am determined to start this year off on a good note, so we are going to start off with the best films that 2024 gave us. So the first film that I absolutely adored was Alien Romulus. Now, Alien Romulus follows a group of friends who explore an abandoned space station and find more than they bargained for. This was the first and only film in the Alien franchise that I have ever seen, and it has made me want to watch the others. I haven't gotten around to it yet, but I do want to just because this movie was so incredible. And listen, that's saying something. I'm not really one for a space movie, but this movie kind of changed it around because I noticed after I watched that this year, I started looking at more space content. So it was a good movie. Next up, we have the film Blink Twice, and it is a lot. So the crew and everyone behind this film actually put out a list of trigger warnings because it can be rather upsetting, and I'm so thankful they did because I don't know if I could have made it through this entire movie if I hadn't mentally prepared. Anyways, Blink Twice follows two waitresses who sneak their way into an invitation on a billionaire's private island where things are not what they seem. Bad things happen on this island. Like the worst of worst things that you think rich people do in their rich little sections of the world, okay? It's bad, but it does have a happy ending. It does. Next up, we have the film Cuckoo, which stars my love Hunter Schafer. She is phenomenal in this movie. She's phenomenal in everything she does. But anyways, this film follows a 17-year-old girl who has to move with her family to a resort, and this resort is weird, okay? Like there's little rules, people act strange, you're not supposed to be out wandering around the resort after dark. It's a lot, and we find out why. This next one is also another type of film that I don't really like. I'm starting to open up more to like sci-fi-esque movies, but this is the film Elevation. Now, Elevation is incredible. It follows this like group of monsters that come up through sinkholes and earth and just almost take out everyone. But the people who were left survived because they ran to higher elevation and found out that these things cannot go past a certain amount of 1,000 feet. So we follow this civilization that they've built up on this high elevation, and we follow a dad in particular who needs to go back down to get some medication for his son. It's terrifying, anxiety-inducing, and it was incredible. I actually got to see this one early and loved it. Next up, we have Heretic starring Hugh Grant. If Hugh Grant is in it, I will watch it. But this film followed two girls who knock on a man's door unsuspectingly just wanting to share their love for Jesus. He lets them inside and they unknowingly just walked into a trap literally made for them to test their faith, to be questioned, to be made to think about what they're believing and advocating for. The next movie I heard a lot of hype for prior to it coming out, and then it came out and there were crickets. And I don't understand why everyone stopped talking about it, but that is the film Humane. Now, Humane follows a very dystopian future where the population has just sprung out of control, resources are gone, so only the wealthiest of the wealthy are thriving. Shocking. So we follow this wealthy family's point of view in Humane, and it's great. It's so good, and I don't know why people don't talk about it anymore. Next, we have a religious horror movie. There's not many on this list because I don't really vibe with religious horror anymore. Like, I can give or take it. I don't think it's awful, but it's just not my thing. But Immaculate was my thing. Starring Sydney Sweeney, this film follows a nun who goes to live at a new church, and she's just ready. She feels like God has spared her life, and she's ready to start this fresh new step. But as soon as she walks on those grounds, she's like, something's going on underneath here, and I just don't think it's holy. And it's not. This next film is going to be for all of my lovers of gore, and that is the film In a Violent Nature. And this isn't just your typical gore movie. It's really unique in the fact that it's operating like a video game and you're watching it from the killer's perspective. Anyways, the plot. This group of people goes into the woods and they take this locket who they do not know belongs to a deceased serial killer who is buried like right there. So he pops up from the grave. We have a living dead serial killer, and he stops at nothing to punish the people who took that locket and to get that locket back. Late Night with the Devil is another one that I don't hear many people talk about. There was a huge controversy when it came out because I think it was 3 slides in the movie had AI assisted help. So people were just really upset by that. But I just feel like this was such a good movie, and I wish they hadn't done that because it overshadowed everything. But Late Night with the Devil is a lost episode of a 70s talk show where they had a special Halloween episode and tried to summon a legit demon. It's so good. I love the way the movie looks. All of the actors did amazing. It is definitely one of my top 5 of the year. At the end of this, I will give my top 5 of the year, like for sure. Next up is the film Longlegs, which everyone in this movie did incredible. Nicolas Cage was unrecognizable and horrific. But it follows an FBI detective who's been assigned to try to track down a serial killer that's been doing his thing for decades, and she finds out she's a little bit closer to this case than she originally thought. Next up, and my most recent watch, is Nosferatu 2024. Obviously, why did I say it like that? I guess because it's a remake. Anyways, we follow a vampire who is brought back from the dead when a beautiful woman calls out for darkness, and he just so happens to hear her, which turns into an obsession. It is a love story. It's dark. It's so good. It's such a good movie, and the cinematography is gorgeous. There are a few scenes that I would legitimately have tattooed on my body. 100%. Next up, we have the film Oddity, which I did not see early, but I was sent exclusive clips to show you guys, and that was really fun. But Oddity follows a year later after the brutal killing of a woman. Her sister returns to the scene of the crime to, spend some time there, remember her sister, and the scene of the crime happened at her late sister's house. So she returns to that house where the widower and his new girl now live. And that sister does not come empty-handed. She comes with a gift that comes with a price. The next film that we're going to talk about actually really surprises me that it's on this list because I was not the biggest fan of the first one, but that film is Smile 2. Smile 2 is a lot like the first Smile, except we watch this, demon, entity, illness, whatever you want to call it, inhabit a pop star. So we're watching it take place on a larger scale. She's in the public eye. She's trying to contain it. She's fighting harder to get rid of it. This was an incredible movie. The jump scares on point. I freaking loved the story. The acting was great. This was all around such a good movie. This one's kind of also not really scary in the same sense of the others, but that is the film Strange Darling. Strange Darling was one that I didn't plan on watching. I just kind of randomly went. I didn't know much about it, but whoa, this was a whirlwind of a movie. Basically, without spoiling anything, it follows a one-night stand that ends up being like a serial killer situation. It's so good, and it's not what you think. The next 2 films come from the same team, and the first one we're going to talk about is Stream. So Stream follows a family who check into a hotel to reconnect, and they unknowingly sign up for a game show where the killers are competing for the most creative kill. Okay. I loved this concept. I thought the acting was great. It was made by the Terrifier team, so obviously I was going to watch it anyways. I got to see it early. It was really cool. I loved it. And next up, of course, since I just mentioned the Terrifier team, you know that it's going to be Terrifier 3. Terrifier 3 follows Art the Clown as he comes back 5 years later to terrorize those siblings yet again. 10 out of 10. Now, the final film is one that shocked me to my core for the year, and that is the film The Substance. Now, The Substance follows an aging actress who is given a chance to rebirth a younger, cooler, hotter, more successful, just overall better version of herself. And she does it. And it does, but not in the way you think. I loved the metaphors in this movie, the symbolism behind everything, the acting, just the visuals. I will never get over how good this movie was. And with that being said, you know that one was in my top 5. So that is the first one that I'm going to tell you was in my top 5. Also, these are in no particular order. So that was number 1. The second one that I'm going to add to my top 5 is Nosferatu. The third one I'm going to add to my top 5 is Terrifier 3. I am biased. I have Terrifier tattoos. I love the franchise. It is my life. So obviously that one was going to be on there. The fourth one is Late Night with the Devil. And the fifth one is Oddity. So please let me know what your favorites of the year were. I'm so excited to hear it. And tomorrow we will talk all about the worst horror of 2024. Listen, it's not It's not going to be a long list. Most of the movies last year I either absolutely loved or I was like, yeah, I don't hate it, but like I would probably rewatch it if I saw it like on cable and I needed to watch something on cable, but it's not my favorite. But there are like 4 or 5 films that I loathed this year, and we're going to talk about them tomorrow. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Like I said, please let me know your favorites of the year, and I will see you tomorrow.